When most people think of Sweden, they picture snow-dusted forests, shimmering lakes, and endless summer light. But hidden within this northern landscape are treasures even more delicate and enchanting. The birds that call it home. Here in the stillness of dawn, a tiny European robin sings from a mossy branch, its red breast glowing like a flame against the mist. A willow warbler fills the birch woods with gentle notes, while the colorful chaffinch adds its ringing song to the spring chorus. In the countryside, fields of gold come alive with the bright flash of the yellowhammer, and in shadowy groves, the haunting call of the song thrush drifts through the air like a hymn to the wild. Yet Sweden's avian wonders are not only small and sweet. Deep in the forests, the mighty Capercaillie struts with theatrical pride, and high above the coastlines, the majestic white-tailed eagle spreads its vast wings, a symbol of wilderness and freedom. In this film, you'll meet 15 of Sweden's most beautiful and rare birds, each a living treasure of the north. From tiny owls to soaring eagles, they reveal the true spirit of Scandinavia's wild places. So join me as we set out to discover the treasures of Sweden. Our journey begins with one of the most beloved birds in all of Europe, a creature so small yet so full of character. The European robin. In Sweden's forests and gardens, this tiny bird has become a symbol of warmth and resilience. At first glance, the robin is instantly recognizable. Its bright orange-red breast glows like a lantern against its soft brown body, while its large dark eyes give it an almost human expression of curiosity. Perched on a mossy branch, it seems to lean forward as if eager to greet you, a companion rather than just a bird. Here's the wonder. Though small, the robin's song is one of the most enchanting sounds of the northern woods. Its clear, liquid notes drift through quiet mornings and dusky evenings, a gentle music that seems to soften the air itself. Even in winter, when snow carpets the ground and food is scarce, the robin sings, a voice of hope in the cold silence. Even more fascinating, robins are surprisingly bold. In Sweden, they often follow people in gardens or forest paths, hopping close as if keeping you company. For centuries, they have appeared in folklore and art, seen as symbols of renewal, comfort, and even divine presence. Their red breast has been celebrated in poetry as the color of life itself against the gray of winter. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers in Sweden notice only the larger, more dramatic birds and overlook the robin, thinking it too ordinary. But to miss this tiny flame is to miss the heartbeat of the Swedish countryside. For birdwatchers, seeing a robin is more than just a checklist tick. Imagine walking through a misty forest at dawn, when a small shape appears on a branch just ahead. Its orange chest catches the first rays of sunlight, and then the song begins. Delicate, pure, and timeless. In that moment, the forest feels alive with quiet magic. So let me ask you, if you had to choose one memory of Sweden's wild beauty, would it be the vast eagle soaring above, or the small robin singing its heart out from the shadows? Comment below. From the robin's warm flame, we move to a bird whose voice is inseparable from the arrival of spring in Sweden, the Willow Warbler. Delicate, restless, and endlessly musical, this little bird transforms the Scandinavian landscape each year with its song. At first glance, the Willow Warbler is modest in appearance. Its plumage is soft greenish-brown above and pale below, with a faint eyebrow stripe that lends it a gentle expression. Small and lightweight, it weighs less than a teaspoon of sugar. Yet despite its size, it carries one of the longest migration journeys of any European songbird, traveling thousands of miles from Africa to Sweden every spring. Here's the wonder. When the warblers return, the forests come alive. Their song is a gentle cascade of descending notes, sweet and sorrowful at once, like water trickling through mossy stones. This melody drifting through birch woods in May is often described as the very soundtrack of the Nordic spring. Even more fascinating, willow warblers are not just singers, but survivors. They weave delicate nests close to the ground, hidden in grasses and undergrowth, where they raise their chicks against the odds. Their annual return after such long migrations is a triumph of instinct and endurance, a reminder of the unseen journeys that connect continents. And here's your FOMO. Many visitors to Sweden's forests are captivated by the grand landscapes, but overlook the faint tumbling notes of the willow warbler. To miss this bird is to miss the very sound of spring itself. For birdwatchers, encountering a willow warbler is both a challenge and a reward. Imagine walking through a birch grove, sunlight filtering through fresh leaves. When you hear a soft melody falling like drops of rain, you search and there it is. A tiny bird swaying on a branch, pouring its heart into the air. It feels like discovering music woven into the forest itself. So let me ask you, if you could bottle one sound to carry home from Sweden, would it be the rush of rivers, the whisper of wind, or the song of the willow warbler, the true voice of spring? Comment below. From the delicate notes of the willow warbler, we move to a bird whose song rings out boldly across Sweden's forests, the chaffinch. With its splash of color and its loud, clear voice, this is one of the country's most familiar yet most beautiful treasures. At first glance, the chaffinch is striking. Males wear a handsome mix of colors, a rosy orange breast, slate blue crown, and bold white wing bars that flash when they fly. Females are softer in tone, cloaked in browns and grays, but equally graceful. Their constant movement from branch to branch adds life to woodlands and gardens. Here's the wonder. The chaffinch's song is not only loud, it is precise. Each male delivers a complex series of trills and flourishes that end in a sharp, ringing note, like a conductor finishing with a flourish. In fact, the song varies regionally, so birdwatchers sometimes describe dialects of chaffinches across Europe. In Sweden's woods, their music gives rhythm to the spring and summer months. Even more fascinating, chaffinches are resourceful survivors. In winter, when insects vanish, they turn to seeds, often flocking together to forage on the ground. Their adaptability allows them to thrive everywhere from rural fields to city parks, making them one of the most widespread and successful birds in Sweden. And here's your FOMO. Many visitors hear the loud, cheerful notes echoing through pine forests, but never take the time to spot the singer. Miss the chaffinch, and you've missed one of the most charming voices of Scandinavia's wild soundtrack. For birdwatchers, the joy is in the combination of sight and sound. Imagine walking a forest path on a spring morning, when a burst of bright song stops you in your tracks. You look up, and there he is, a small but vibrant male perched proudly on a branch, feathers glowing in the light. It feels like the forest itself has paused to sing to you. So let me ask you, if you were to remember Sweden's forest by one voice, would it be the soft warble of the willow warbler, or the confident ringing call of the chaffinch? Comment below. From the confident call of the chaffinch, we move to a true virtuoso of the northern woods, the song thrush. If Sweden's forests were a concert hall, this bird would be the master musician, filling every corner with music, both delicate and powerful. At first glance, the song thrush looks modest. Its warm brown back and spotted cream breast blend perfectly with the forest floor and woodland edges. But don't be fooled by the plain attire. This bird saves its brilliance for its voice. Here's the wonder. The song thrush's singing is among the most celebrated in Europe. Its song is a rich collection of clear, flute-like phrases, each repeated 2 or 3 times before moving to the next. This repeating style makes it instantly recognizable, like a poet reciting verses, line by line. In Sweden, its music often rises at dawn and dusk, carrying across gardens, orchards, and woodland glades. Even more fascinating, song thrushes are natural mimics. They can weave snippets of other birds' songs or even environmental sounds into their repertoire. Each individual may command over 100 different phrases, creating performances as unique as fingerprints. And here's your FOMO. Many visitors admire Sweden's landscapes in silence, unaware that a symphony is playing above them. Miss the song thrush, and you've skipped one of the most enchanting sounds of the northern wild. For birdwatchers, hearing a song thrush is a highlight of spring and summer. Imagine sitting at the edge of a birch grove at twilight, when the air is cooling and shadows stretch long. Suddenly, a crystal-clear note cuts through the quiet, followed by another, and then a cascade of phrases, each repeated as if to be savored. It feels less like listening to a bird and more like being part of an open-air concert crafted by nature itself. So let me ask you, if you could carry home one song from Sweden, would it be the tumbling notes of the Willow Warbler or the poetic verses of the song Thrush? Comment below. From the poetic verses of the song Thrush, we turn to a bird that brings sunshine to Sweden's countryside, the Yellowhammer. With its golden plumage and cheerful song, this bird feels like a piece of summer light perched among the hedgerows. At first glance, the Yellowhammer is radiant. Males are bright yellow across the head and breast, streaked with warm browns along the back, as if sunlight itself had painted their feathers. Females are subtler, with softer tones, but still carry that unmistakable golden glow. When perched on a fence post or singing from the top of a bush, the Yellowhammer is a spark of brightness in the rural landscape. Here's the wonder. The Yellowhammer's song is simple yet instantly recognizable. Birdwatchers often describe it as sounding like the phrase, "a little bit of bread and no cheese." This repetitive, cheerful refrain drifts across fields and farmland, giving rhythm to long summer days. It is a sound so familiar that it has inspired poetry and folk sayings across Europe. Even more fascinating, Yellowhammers are perfectly tied to Sweden's farmlands. They forage for seeds along open fields, often in small flocks during winter, and their presence is closely linked to traditional agriculture. Their resilience has allowed them to remain a common sight, even as landscapes change. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers to Sweden's countryside admire the open fields and wildflowers, but overlook the small golden birds singing above them. Miss the Yellowhammer, and you've skipped one of the brightest symbols of rural Scandinavia. For birdwatchers, the joy lies in the moment of discovery. Imagine walking along a country lane in midsummer, the air warm and buzzing with insects, when you hear the repetitive refrain. You look up, and there he is, a golden yellow bird on a post, singing confidently against the blue sky. It feels like a personal gift from the landscape itself. So let me ask you, if you could carry home one image of Sweden's summer, would it be the fields of grain or the golden song of the Yellowhammer perched among them? Comment below. From the golden fields of the Yellowhammer, we now step into Sweden's gardens and woodlands to meet a bird that is both familiar and extraordinary, the great tit. Bold, intelligent, and endlessly versatile, this bird is one of Sweden's most trusted companions in the wild. At first glance, the great tit is striking in its simplicity. Its black head and throat contrast sharply with white cheeks, while its bright yellow belly is crossed by a bold black stripe. Add in olive green wings and back, and you have a bird that feels both vivid and elegant. When it flits between branches or clings upside down to a feeder, it seems to radiate energy and confidence. Here's the wonder. The great tit is famous for its voice. Unlike many birds that repeat the same song, this species has a vast repertoire with dozens of different calls and patterns. In fact, it is often called the mimic of the forest, capable of adapting its song to different regions, seasons, or even situations. Swedish bird lovers often say that no two great tits sing quite the same. Even more fascinating, this bird is remarkably clever. Studies have shown that great tits can solve problems, use tools, and adapt their behavior to survive in harsh winters. They visit bird feeders across Sweden, hopping fearlessly close to humans, and even seem to recognize regular visitors who offer food. And here's your FOMO. Many visitors brush past the great tit, assuming it's too common to be special. But to miss it is to overlook one of Sweden's most intelligent and adaptable birds, a creature that reflects the very resilience of the northern landscapes. For birdwatchers, the magic lies in its boldness. Imagine sitting in a snowy garden when a bright flash of yellow swoops down, landing just feet away to snatch a seed. Its sharp call rings out, followed by a playful flutter as it vanishes into the trees. In that instant, you feel a connection not just to the bird, but to the rhythm of life that continues through every season. So let me ask you, would you value the rare and exotic alone, or also celebrate the everyday companion whose brilliance is hiding in plain sight? Comment below. From the bold and clever great tit, we now meet its smaller, more colorful cousin, The Eurasian blue tit. This tiny bird is a jewel of Sweden's gardens and forests, combining playful energy with a beauty that feels almost too delicate to be real. At first glance, the blue tit is dazzling. Its bright blue cap and wings shimmer against a vibrant yellow belly, while a thin black eye stripe gives its face a lively, mischievous look. Perched among fresh spring leaves or against winter snow, it stands out like a brushstroke of color in a monochrome painting. Here's the wonder. Despite its delicate appearance, the blue tit is a tough survivor. Weighing little more than a coin, it braves Sweden's cold winters, darting through gardens and woodlands in restless flocks. Its constant movement, hanging upside down, clinging to twigs or hovering at feeders, makes it seem endlessly curious and full of life. Even more fascinating, blue tits are renowned for their intelligence. They have been observed solving puzzles to access food, and in history they became famous for learning how to peck open milk bottle tops in Europe to drink the cream. In Sweden, they bring that same inventiveness to bird tables and garden feeders, often being the first to try something new. And here's your FOMO. Many visitors admire Sweden's grand eagles and owls, but overlook the tiny flash of blue and yellow flitting just above their heads. To miss the blue tit is to miss one of the country's most charming living treasures. For birdwatchers, the thrill is in its bold personality. Imagine standing in a snowy Swedish garden when a group of tiny blue tits arrives, chattering with sharp calls, darting between branches like sparks of color. One lands just feet away, tilts its head curiously, and then vanishes in a flutter of wings. It feels like nature has paused to gift you a moment of pure joy. So let me ask you, if you had to choose, would you prefer the majesty of the eagle or the cheerful brilliance of a bird small enough to fit in your hand? Comment below. From the playful flashes of the blue tit, we now enter the deep silence of Sweden's forests, broken only by a sound like a drumbeat echoing through the trees. This is the realm of the Black Woodpecker, a bird so powerful and commanding that it feels like the forest itself has found its voice. At first glance, the Black Woodpecker is dramatic. Larger than a crow, it is the biggest woodpecker in Europe. Its glossy black plumage makes it nearly invisible against the shadows of tree trunks, while its flaming red crest blazes like a spark in the dark woods. With a chisel-shaped beak, it carves deep holes in pines and spruces, leaving behind the unmistakable marks of its presence. Here's the wonder. When a black woodpecker drums, it's not just noise, it's communication. Those rapid, resonant bursts echo for hundreds of meters, announcing territory, strength, and presence. The sound can transform a quiet forest into a cathedral of percussion, and for many, hearing it for the first time is unforgettable. Even more fascinating, these birds are ecosystem engineers. Their powerful excavation creates large cavities in trees, which later become homes for owls, ducks, bats, and countless other creatures. In this way, the black woodpecker shapes the very structure of the forest community. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers walk through Sweden's dense woods, unaware that a giant ghost watches from above. Miss the black woodpecker, and you've missed one of the forest's greatest architects and one of its most spectacular performances. For birdwatchers, the thrill is both sight and sound. Imagine standing in a misty conifer forest when suddenly a loud, resonant drumming rolls through the trees. You follow the sound, and there it is. A massive black bird clinging to the trunk, crest flaring, hammering with astonishing force. In that moment, the forest no longer feels silent, but alive, pulsing with rhythm. So let me ask you, if you could choose, would you prefer the delicate songs of small birds or the booming drumbeat of the forest's giant percussionist? Comment below. From the thunderous drumming of the black woodpecker, we slip quietly into the shadows of Sweden's forests, where one of the most secretive treasures of the North hides, the Hazel grouse. Shy, elusive, and beautifully patterned, this bird is a master of remaining unseen. At first glance, the hazel grouse is subtle but exquisite. Its plumage is an intricate mosaic of browns, grays, and whites, blending perfectly with the forest floor and undergrowth. A small black throat patch bordered with white gives it a touch of elegance, while the delicate markings across its body look almost like fine embroidery stitched by nature itself. Here's the wonder. Though rarely seen, the hazel grouse is often heard. Its call is a high, whistling note that drifts through quiet woodlands, betraying its presence to those who know how to listen. Spotting one, however, is a challenge even for experienced birdwatchers. These birds freeze at the slightest disturbance, vanishing into the background as if swallowed by the forest. Even more fascinating, hazel grouse are closely tied to healthy, mature forests. They prefer a mix of conifers and deciduous trees, with plenty of undergrowth for cover. Because of this, their presence is often seen as a sign of a thriving ecosystem. In Sweden, they are considered a true jewel for anyone lucky enough to glimpse them. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers pass through Sweden's forests without realizing that one of the country's most beautiful and rare birds is hiding just meters away. Miss the hazel grouse, and you've missed a living emblem of the deep wild woods. For birdwatchers, the reward is unforgettable. Imagine walking through a quiet spruce forest, snow soft beneath your boots, when suddenly a faint whistle cuts through the stillness. You scan the branches and ground, and finally your eyes catch a patterned shadow moving slowly among the hazel shrubs. The moment is fleeting, but it feels like uncovering a secret the forest has kept just for you. So let me ask you, if you could choose, would you rather see the bold display of a capercaillie or catch a rare, quiet glimpse of the shy hazel grouse? Comment below. From the secretive hazel grouse, we move deeper into Sweden's northern landscapes, where snow and tundra dominate the seasons. Here lives a master of disguise and survival, the willow grouse. Known for its remarkable ability to change with the seasons, this bird is one of Scandinavia's most iconic symbols of adaptation. At first glance, the willow grouse is a study in transformation. In summer, its plumage is mottled brown, blending with heather and shrubs. But come winter, it deigns a cloak of pure white, with only its red eyebrow combs standing out, like tiny flames against the snow. This seasonal camouflage makes it almost invisible to predators, a living ghost of the Arctic. Here's the wonder. The willow grouse doesn't just survive in these harsh conditions, it thrives. Feeding mainly on buds, shoots, and twigs, it endures long winters where food is scarce. Its feathered legs act like natural snowshoes, allowing it to move easily across frozen ground, while its thick plumage provides insulation against biting winds. Even more fascinating, this bird is deeply woven into northern culture. In Sweden and across Scandinavia, it has long been a part of folklore and tradition, symbolizing endurance, resilience, and the bond between people and the land. Hunters and nature lovers alike revere it as a true emblem of the North. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers admire Sweden's snowy landscapes without realizing that perfectly hidden among them is a bird that embodies the very spirit of survival. Miss the willow grouse and you've skipped one of nature's finest examples of adaptation. For birdwatchers, spotting one is a test of patience and perception. Imagine trekking across a frozen plain, your breath visible in the icy air, when suddenly a patch of snow shifts, revealing a white bird with fiery red brows staring back at you. The encounter is fleeting, but it leaves you with a sense of wonder at how perfectly life can fit into its environment. So let me ask you, if you could take home one memory of Sweden's winter wilds, would it be the silence of the snow or the hidden heartbeat of the willow grouse? Comment below. From the quiet disguise of the willow grouse, we now step into the shadowy depths of Sweden's forests, where a true giant of the grouse family reigns, the Capercaillie. Majestic, dramatic, and steeped in folklore, this bird is a living symbol of the wild north. At first glance, the Capercaillie was breathtaking. Males are enormous, nearly the size of a small turkey, with dark iridescent plumage that shimmers green and blue in the light. A scarlet eyebrow adds a flash of color, while a powerful tail fans out in dramatic display. Females, smaller and mottled brown, are masters of camouflage, blending perfectly with the forest floor. Here's the wonder. Every spring, male capercaillies stage one of the most spectacular courtship displays in Europe. On lecking grounds deep in the forest, they strut with tails spread, wings lowered, and throats puffed out. Their calls are a bizarre mix of clicks, pops, and wheezes, echoing through the trees like ancient forest magic. Watching a lek at dawn feels like stepping into another world, where the forest becomes a theater and these birds its actors. Even more fascinating, the Capercaillie has long held a place in northern culture. In Swedish folklore, it is sometimes seen as a guardian of the forest, a creature of mystery and strength. Hunters and storytellers alike speak of its courage and determination, making it not just a bird, but a legend. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers wander Sweden's forests unaware of the dramas unfolding in hidden clearings at sunrise. Miss the Capercaillie, and you've missed one of the greatest wildlife performances in Scandinavia. For birdwatchers, the experience is unforgettable. Imagine standing quietly in the half-light of dawn, frost still clinging to the moss, when a deep clicking sound breaks the silence. Out of the shadows, a giant bird appears, tail fanned, eyes blazing red, moving with deliberate power. In that moment, the forest feels less like a place and more like a living stage. So let me ask you, if you could witness one performance in Sweden's wild, would you choose a symphony of thrushes or the dramatic theater of the Capercaillie at dawn? Comment below. From the forest drama of the Capercaillie, we step out into Sweden's open fields and meadows, where a smaller but no less impressive hunter commands the skies, the common kestrel. With its elegant hovering flight and keen eyesight, this falcon is one of nature's finest aerial performers. At first glance, the common kestrel is beautiful in its subtlety. Males wear a soft chestnut back speckled with black, a bluish-gray head and slate-colored tail, while females are more brown and streaked, perfectly blending with the landscape. Both share graceful, tapered wings built for agility and control. Here's the wonder. Unlike most raptors, the kestrel has mastered the art of hovering. With rapid wing beats and tiny adjustments of its tail, it can hang motionless in the air, scanning the ground below. Once it spots a mouse, vole, or grasshopper, it drops suddenly in a swift dive, striking with precision. Watching this hunting style is like seeing a helicopter shrink into a falcon's form. Even more fascinating, common kestrels rely on vision far sharper than our own. They can detect the ultraviolet trails left by rodents, giving them a secret map to prey invisible to humans. It's a reminder that birds experience the world with senses beyond our comprehension. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers glance up to see a small bird hovering and dismiss it as ordinary. But to miss the kestrel is to miss one of Sweden's most graceful hunters, a falcon whose beauty lies not in size but in skill. For bird watchers, the joy is in the moment of pause. Imagine walking along a windswept meadow when a kestrel suddenly appears above, perfectly still against the sky. Seconds stretch as it hovers, then a plunge, a flash of wings, and it rises again, prey in its talons. It feels less like hunting and more like watching a dance between earth and sky. So let me ask you, if you could witness one hunting style, would you choose the brute force of an eagle or the delicate hovering ballet of the kestrel? Comment below. From the open skies of the kestrel, we now slip into the forest edge, where a smaller but far fiercer predator hunts with lightning speed, the Eurasian sparrowhawk. Sleek, secretive, and incredibly fast, this raptor is a master of surprise. At first glance, the sparrowhawk is elegant but menacing. Males are bluish-gray above with reddish barring across the chest, while females are larger, with brown plumage and bold stripes. Both share piercing yellow eyes that seem to lock onto every movement, scanning for the slightest sign of prey. When perched silently in the shadows, they are almost invisible until they strike. Here's the wonder. The sparrowhawk is built for speed and agility. Its short, rounded wings and long tail allow it to twist and turn through dense woodland, chasing small birds with breathtaking precision. A sudden burst of movement, a blur through the trees, and it's all over. A chase lasting just seconds, but executed with deadly efficiency. Even more fascinating, sparrowhawks play a vital role in maintaining balance in the ecosystem. By preying primarily on abundant small birds, they keep populations in check, ensuring that forests and fields remain healthy. In this way, their predatory nature supports the very harmony of the landscapes they haunt. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers enjoy Sweden's peaceful woods without realizing that a drama of survival unfolds just beyond their eyes. Miss the sparrowhawk, and you've skipped one of the forest's most thrilling hunters. For bird watchers, the encounter is electrifying. Imagine standing at the edge of a clearing when suddenly a flock of finches bursts into flight, chased by a shadow darting between trees. A flash of barred chest, a whip of the tail, and the sparrowhawk vanishes as quickly as it appeared. It feels like watching the forest itself come alive with raw energy. So let me ask you, if you had the chance to witness predator and prey in action, would you look away or marvel at the wild precision of the sparrowhawk? Comment below. From the swift shadow of the sparrowhawk, we now move into the twilight forest to meet a hunter of a very different kind. The Eurasian pygmy owl. Tiny, rare, and almost impossibly fierce for its size, this owl is proof that power can come in the smallest package. At first glance, the pygmy owl looks almost toy-like. Barely 6 inches tall, it can perch comfortably in the palm of a hand. Its round head, yellow eyes, and finely spotted brown plumage give it an appearance both delicate and endearing. But don't be deceived. Behind that adorable exterior lies a predator with the instincts of a giant. Here's the wonder. The pygmy owl hunts during the day, unlike most owls. Perched high in spruce or pine, it surveys the forest with laser focus, then swoops down to snatch small birds or mammals with shocking precision. It is so fearless that it sometimes tackles prey nearly as large as itself, dragging it away to store for later in tree cavities. Even more fascinating, these owls are incredibly rare and difficult to spot. Their small size and quiet nature make encounters fleeting, which is why many birdwatchers consider seeing one in Sweden a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Their presence is a sign of healthy forests, and their mystery only adds to their allure. And here's your FOMO. Imagine traveling through Sweden's vast forests without realizing that one of Europe's rarest and most charming owls is watching from above. Miss the pygmy owl, and you've skipped not only a predator, but also one of the most enchanting symbols of the North. For birdwatchers, spotting one feels almost magical. Picture walking in a misty spruce forest when a sudden movement catches your eye. A tiny owl stares back, fierce golden eyes glowing from a low branch. Despite its size, its gaze feels commanding, as if the forest itself has appointed this tiny bird as its guardian. So let me ask you, if you had to choose, would you remember Sweden for its giants, like the Capercaillie and white-tailed eagle, or for the tiny pygmy owl, whose spirit burns just as brightly? Comment below. From the tiny guardian of the forest, we now rise into the vast northern skies to meet Sweden's greatest raptor, the white-tailed eagle. Majestic, immense, and unforgettable, this eagle is not only the largest bird of prey in Scandinavia, but also a living symbol of wilderness and freedom. At first glance, the white-tailed eagle is awe-inspiring. With a wingspan that can stretch over 8 feet, it dwarfs almost every other bird in the sky. Its dark brown plumage is offset by a pale head and, most strikingly, a massive wedge-shaped white tail that flashes like a beacon in flight. Its powerful beak, hooked and golden, leaves no doubt that this is a ruler of the wild. Here's the wonder. White-tailed eagles are true masters of the coastlines and lakes. They soar effortlessly above open water, scanning for fish with eyes as sharp as any hunter's. With a sudden dive, they extend talons the size of a human hand, snatching prey from the surface in a display of speed and precision. Watching one pluck a fish from a lake is like seeing raw power sculpted into grace. Even more fascinating, this eagle has an inspiring story of survival. Once nearly extinct in parts of Europe due to hunting and habitat loss, it has made a dramatic comeback thanks to conservation efforts. In Sweden, seeing one glide across the horizon is not just a natural wonder. It is a triumph of resilience, proof of what can be saved when people choose to protect. And here's your FOMO. Many travelers look out across Sweden's lakes without ever raising their eyes to the sky. To miss the white-tailed eagle is to miss the crown jewel of Scandinavia's wilderness. For birdwatchers, an encounter is unforgettable. Imagine standing on the rocky shore of the Baltic, the wind cool against your face when a shadow passes over. You look up to see enormous wings spread against the clouds, circling effortlessly. With every beat of its wings, you feel the weight of history and the raw beauty of the wild. So let me ask you, if you could carry home just one image from Sweden's skies, would it be the songbird's melody or the soaring silhouette of the white-tailed eagle, king of the north? Comment below. And there you have it, 15 of the most beautiful and rare birds of Sweden, each one a living treasure of the north. From the tiny European robin singing hope into the dawn, to the Willow Warbler, the soft voice of spring, and the golden brilliance of the Yellowhammer in the fields, every small bird added its own color and music to the journey. We ventured into the forest with the mighty Black Woodpecker and the elusive Hazel Grouse, marveled at the seasonal disguise of the willow grouse, and stood in awe of the dramatic courtship of the Capercaillie. Then we lifted into the skies with the graceful Kestrel, the lightning-fast Sparrowhawk, and the fierce yet tiny pygmy owl. Finally, we looked up to see the soaring majesty of the white-tailed eagle, a symbol of wilderness reborn. Each of these birds reminds us that Sweden's wild beauty lies not only in its landscapes, but in the wings that carry life across them. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which bird captured your heart the most? Was it the cheerful robin, the mysterious owl, or the eagle, lord of the skies? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Bird Videos so you never miss the next journey into the world's wildest and most beautiful birds. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.